Hello there, welcome back. If you've been following along, then well done. It's actually looking pretty good. But we still have a few things to do before this part of the system is perfect. So today we're going to be focusing on this URL title, item URL thing here. And we're going to be using callbacks, okay? So here is the vibe. In Codeigniter, there's a thing, let me just find it actually. I believe it's called URL title. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yep. Okay, so it's part of the URL helper, and here's how it works, okay? So this is going to convert item titles into nice URLs. So what we're going to do is when people submit the form, when they submit this form here, we want it to make a nice search engine friendly URL that we can add into the database, okay? By the way, I apologize if the sound's not too good today. I'm in a different room, you know. I hope you can hear me. Anyway, so let's deal with the item URL, okay? Now, when the form validation is true and we pass form validation, you'll see that we have this data variable here, okay? We're going to add a new data variable in called item URL. And item URL is going to equal URL title, which is straight from the Codeigniter user guide. And URL title of what? Data item title. Now, just to show you that this is working, I'm going to say item URL, little die statement here, and I'm just going to hit submit. And you can see that it's added a hyphen in up here, so that's looking good. That's exactly what we wanted, right? So now if I take this out, this means that whenever we update an item, we're going to have an item URL field as well. And let me just show you that. I'll hit submit. Okay, so the item was updated, and if we hit refresh, you'll see that the item URL is looking fantastic, okay? But let's not celebrate too soon, because there's something else we need to do. When people are adding items to the shop, it's very important that all of the item titles are unique, okay? And we also want to make sure that all of the item URLs are unique, because there is a hypothetical possibility that there could be another item, even with not only the same title, but even different titles and the same URL. There is a possibility of that kind of thing happening. So to prevent that type of thing from happening, we're going to use callbacks, right? So I'm going to say callback item check, okay? Now when we're doing callbacks, the tradition is to scroll to the bottom of the file, right to the very bottom. This is where the callbacks live, okay? So we've got one here called, was it check item? Sorry, item check, okay? So I'm going to go item check. It takes in a string. And in fact, do you know what? Let's just take one straight from the user guide, because I want you to see that I'm being very strict here in terms of sticking to the user guide as much as possible. Folks, this is very, very important, because, you know, if something happens, if you get struck by lightning, if you go on holiday, I don't know, something, then you don't want to be the only person in the world who knows how the thing works, you see? So let's stick to the user guide here. How do they have it? Now ours is called item check. They use username check, okay? You can keep public in, but I'm not bothering. And I'm going to stick with old-fashioned formatting. There's nothing wrong with this. These kinds of brackets, I actually like this. But I normally, since most of my other functions are like this, I'm just going to keep it consistent, okay? So this is what a callback looks like, straight from the user guide. Okay, and that should be us. And let's test this now, okay? So we're running the validation, and if item title equals test, we should have an error message saying that the field cannot be test. So is that test with a, yep, it's all lowercase. So let's change this to test, hit submit. And as you can see, it doesn't know what the error message is. So we have a little bit of work to do before this actually works, and it's because we're using HMVC. That's why we're getting these problems. So I'm going to go to Wired Design's Bitbucket page, and I'm going to do a search for validation, and you'll see that he's left some notes here on how to get callbacks working, okay, how to deal with form validation when you're using HMVC. We're going to start by adding a file into the application libraries folder, and this file is going to be called myformvalidation.php. check it out, that's the vibe, right? Now I'm just getting this from the Bitbucket page, or from the readme file even with HMVC. You know, I'm just copying what I see here, and I'm going to just paste it on in. And that is that, okay? So I've pasted in, let's do submit again. And still we have an error message. So we need to do something else. And the other thing that we need to do, let me just check, is this here. In the parent construct thing, we need to add a couple of lines of code, right? So if you are doing form validation with Codeigniter version 3, then you need to add a couple of lines of code up here like so. Now please note that this is different from version 2. In fact, I'm going to comment these out. In Codeigniter version 2, you can do validation by adding the variable this in here, and that worked. Okay, that worked with version 2. But it doesn't work here. So with version 3, we're sticking to the way it recommended, and we are adding these two lines here into the construct thing. Okay, so if we hit submit, there you go. It's saying that the item title cannot be the word test. So that is pretty good. And if we do the proper item title, then everything's just fine. So that's good. We now have callbacks working, and now you know how to get callbacks working with Codeigniter version 3, okay? Remember, callbacks are handled slightly differently in version 3, okay? Anyway, obviously we don't want to do this silly test here. We want to do something a little bit more meaningful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say update ID equals this URI segment 3, okay? We now know if the item is a brand new item or if it's an item that's being updated. Do you know what I mean? We know if we're going to be creating or updating. So check this out. If is numeric update ID, what does that actually mean? Well, it means that this is an update. Else, this is a create item attempt. Okay, that's the vibe. So would it help if I made this bigger? Maybe that helps. Okay, so if this is a numeric update ID, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a MySQL query up that says select all from store items where actually something else we're going to do. Sorry, I'm going to get, let me just try something. Right, we're going to get the item URL that equals URL title string, okay? So that's the item URL. So check this out. Select all from store items where item title equals string and item URL equals item URL. Okay. And as a matter of fact, let me just try something here. I'm making this up as I go along, you know. Let's chuck this query in here and let's space out. Okay, so there's our query. Select all from store items where item title equals that and item URL equals that. Now, if it's numeric, then the MySQL query also equals, okay, and ID does not equal update ID. So it's going to be a bigger query. Can you handle it? It's going to be a bigger query. Otherwise, well, it's a create item, so we can leave the query alone. Okay, that's us. So we've built a query here. If it's a new item, the query is going to be just select all from store items where item title equals that and item URL equals that. If it's an update, we're checking where the things equal that and the ID does not equal update ID. So we're now going to run this as a custom query. Like so. Now we're going to get the number of rows. Like so. And what we're going to say now is if number of rows is greater than 0, then form validation, let's just say the item title that you submitted is not available. Okay, and that'll do. So let's give this a try. We'll hit submit. Okay, 173, that's okay, that's okay. Sorry, that was today's deliberate mistake of the day. Congratulations if you spotted that. Okay, so the item details were successfully updated. We now have an item called first item. Let's create another item and we'll try and call this first item. So we should get an error message here, right? Let's give this a try. Hit submit. The item title that you submitted is not available. That is fantastic. And that is how you do callbacks. Now, there's a couple of things we're going to do before we're completely finished with this and we'll move on to something new. Just a couple of things. I want to get this cancel button doing something. And what's this? I don't know about this thing. I think we'll take that out as well, okay? So let's take this here settings can be configured thing out. So I'm going to go to our create.php thing. Settings can, now where on earth is that? Is it in the template folder maybe? Let me just check. Find in folder. Settings can be configured is what it said. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. So let's just take that completely out because that is actually not something that we need, okay? So we'll do that. And is there anything else we need to take out? Let me just check. Right, I've got a little wrench icon here, which is kind of uncool. Where on earth is it? Ah, it's hiding. Well, hold on. Let me just have a look. It's item details. It's after that, okay? So let me just see. Let me just see. Sorry, it wouldn't be on this page. It would be, I've just broken something here, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's do a search here. Aha, here it is. This wrench thing has to go, you know. Good. So take this out. Okay, so I was just removing that little wrench thing there. Finally, I'm going to get this cancel button doing something here. So let's do that. I'll go back into the create thing. And while we've got this button that says cancel, I'm going to say name equals submit, value, whoops, equals cancel. So now when the thing gets submitted, okay, I'm going to just say something like let's just see, if submit is equal to cancel, then redirect store items / manage. So now I'm going to refresh, and if they click the cancel button, hello, is it happening? Let me just check. Submit class button type, sorry, that's what the problem is. That should be a submit. Sorry about that. That was our second deliberate mistake of the day. So I'm going to say cancel, and there we go, back to manage items. And if we do it again, cancel, back to manage items. Okay, so that's not too bad. This form is looking fantastic and I'm very happy. So I'll see you in the next video and we'll move onwards and upwards. Bye.